I am doing my first YouTube live stream from Plainfield, Iowa, and I'm trying to get the light white. This is my grandmother's house on the Cedar River in Iowa, and you may not be able to see that because the light is a little too bright. But this is a very special place for me. And of course, now that she's gone, it's like it's covered in dog blankets and dog everything because it's my dad's place. But I found some treasures, and I just wanted to share. Um, and I'm like in a rest mode. I went out to the car and threw on some mascara, so you could see my face. But I found a treasure on my grandma's art table downstairs, and I'm perplexed because I didn't think that this was the book that my grandmother would have. It's To Codependence. It's actually a brand new copy, and it makes me wonder if I brought it here and left it here, or if I gave it to her. This is called The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty, and I'm going to tell you guys. I would say for almost every person that I've ever met, I think that this book is really important if you've ever struggled with codependency. And if you ask, well, what is codependency? To me, it's kind of, I'm just going to go with kind of my own take on what codependency is. It's really the only addiction that I've ever struggled with. And I think it's the addiction where you feel responsible for other people and their happiness. And my life of self-care, my work as a life coach, my learning as a life coach and a stylist has been to help myself and to help other people to focus on caring for themselves, instead of other people. Now, I have a great example of what I did this morning. I'm pretty stoked. So my new boyfriend of under a year is visiting here for the first time, and he and my dad are sitting out here this morning, and I slept late because I didn't sleep last night, and I can hear them talking. And so I get up and I'm barely awake. And Nate's like, "Hey, so what are we doing for breakfast?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't need breakfast. There's eggs. We bought you all these groceries. They're in the, they're in the kitchen. Help yourself. Do you need me to you get started on making the breakfast?" I mean, he doesn't know his way around the kitchen, so I'm not gonna be a total jerk. And, you know, and then so dad's like, "What are we doing for breakfast?" Because I think I cooked breakfast yesterday and they liked it. Well, anyway, so I can tell that, Nate's bored. He doesn't want to be out here in the middle of this basically a cornfield in front of my house, and then the river behind me, and it's totally quiet. And I'm like, guys, I just want to be here at grandma's house. And I have one day to enjoy being at her house. Y'all do what you need to do. Go get your breakfast or whatever. There's plenty of stuff. Well, anyway, so I said, Nate, if you need to, you feel free to run into town, do what you want to do, And so Nate's like, okay, well, I think I'm going to go get breakfast. I'm like, cool. And then dad's like, hey, I'll drive. And I'm like, yes. That means no TV, although I do have dog to deal with. The dog is needy, of course. They're always needy. I think most dogs are needy. But so here I am alone at my grandmother's house, and I'm so excited because my grandmother was probably the formative person in my life who really believed in me. And, when my parents were busy, with their own struggles and their own stuff, my grandmother had the energy to focus on her grandkids, and she's the one who got me to paint and get started. And anyway, so it's just really magical being out here. It's absolutely stunning. It's super messy, but it's stunning. So I wanted to go ahead and read. So this is a daily book of meditations, which I think is fantastic. And I'm going to read July 9th because today is July 9th. Let's see what it has to say. Let's see if it speaks to any of us, because I'm sure it will probably speak to me. Overspending and underspending. I used to beat my husband to death with my credit card. It made me feel like I had some control, some way to get even with him. That says anonymous. So she didn't write that, but that's anonymous. And then this is what Melody Beatty is saying. I spent 10 years buying everything for myself at garage sales. Hey, I'm a garage sale fan. I didn't even buy myself a new pair of shoes. The entire time I was depriving myself, my husband was gambling, speculating on risky business deals, and doing whatever he wanted with money. I learned that when I made a decision that I deserved to have the things I wanted, I made a decision to buy something I wanted. There was enough money to do it. It wasn't about being frugal. It was about depriving myself and being a martyr. That actually is another anonymous quote. So now Melody is saying, compulsive buying or overspending may give us a temporary feeling of power or satisfaction, but like other out of control behaviors, it has predictive negative consequences. Underspending can leave us feeling victimized too. There is a difference between responsible spending and martyred deprivation. There is a difference between treating ourselves well financially and overspending. We can learn to discern the difference. We can develop responsible spending habits that reflect high self-esteem and love for ourselves. Amen. So here's kind of the prayer. So today I will strive for balance in my spending habits. If I am overspending, I will stop and deal with what's going on inside of me. If I am underspending or depriving myself, I will ask myself if that's necessary and what I want. Let's take 3 deep breaths, opening to a new experience in our brain. And yes, this is love, the love on the boob billboard. 3 deep breaths. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for that message. That's beautiful. Okay, so yesterday I spent money on new toesies. I am in love with this color. And I'm going to post that color on my Auretha Life Style Catalyst page on Facebook. And hopefully I have the link below, but I'll put it on there. This is my favorite consistent color. It's kind of between a pink and an orange. It's gorgeous for summer, and it was about $50. And I have to be honest with you. I'm a girl who was raised by frugal parents who went to garage sales and finished furniture. We didn't just go out and buy new things. We found the value in vintage things, and I love that about myself. I love that quality. But right now, there are times in life where I realize I need to not be frugal in some areas, like my hair color and my haircut. And this is what I teach my clients too. My skincare. I think it's important to get moisture. I just had MTC oil for my brain, and I just bought hyaluronic acid serum or hyaluronic serum at Trader Joe's, which is super cheap. It's like $10 or $13. But yesterday, I looked down at my toenails, and I had been looking at them for 4 days, falling apart. And I said, you know what? I need to just buck up and go get, the gel nails that stay on all summer. I'm getting ready to go out to work with my clients in Utah. And it's like, come on, it's time to take care of myself in the way that I need to do. So the other thing is I need to creep around my grandma's house. I need to do self-care and find books like this and see her art books. And, I just feel her spirit so much. She's so amazing. And for me, that's something that I really need. Let's see, what's the other self-care I wanted to talk about? Well, getting the food you need, making sure when you go to the grocery store, you get the food that really is good for you, that feels good. And then, some treats. I think I had some ice cream yesterday, which it isn't, part of my weight loss plan, but it's part of my I love myself plan. And it's summer. And if I have an urge to have a little tiny bit, like a small, tiny ice cream, I do. I still, I have some rolls, but it's like, okay, I'm being moderate, knowing that the extra weight is going to come off when it needs to come off. So I pulled out my tarot cards and decks. I'm going to spend some time here and in front of the river in the quiet now that Dad and Nate left, which I'm so thankful for, just to have some space today to just see what magic wants to unfold for me. I'm going to try and do these live videos, just to talk to you guys, and I'll repost it on my Facebook Life and Style Catalyst page to my fans. This channel doesn't really have any fans yet, but I want to do more and more YouTube, because I spend tons of time on YouTube, which is also self-care. So the spending on, okay, so I wanted to say that the overspending and underspending, I've been an underspender for years. I had a real tough 10 years financially, had a lot of health problems, and, just wasn't all about getting big and being seen. My visibility, when you don't feel good, you keep yourself small. You don't really show up in the way that like you're not going to be on stage, woo, when you don't feel good about yourself, or you don't feel good, period. So I'm feeling a lot better these days. And today, this year is a very good, big year for me. So, I was able to manifest a chunk of money for my business. And it's super cool because I empower people to be seen, and to be seen authentically, and to love themselves into expressing their outer image from an inner place of authenticity, and something that I call soul style. And so I was able the other day to buy myself a brand new kayak stand-up paddleboard. And, I knew when I was taking that money out of my account to do that, it was like, okay, this is a big feel-good moment. That was paddleboarding and kayaking, just being on the river, being on, a body of water. It's just my happy place. When I actually submerge my body in water, I feel so amazing. I just feel like all the stress, is leaving my body. So, that was an amazing spend. And then I just spent another chunk of money on my friend's marketing program, which she has an intuitive marketing program. I've been following her for quite some time. Her name is Angela Johnson. And you can just Google her, Angela Johnson Intuitive Marketing. And, she really is a vibrational match for me. I've known her for a long time. I've watched her journey to finding her own authenticity, her own authentic path, and her genius. And I'm very proud of her. And I've also been able to get a lot of value out of what she's been sharing. So I went ahead and invested in her marketing program for my business. So this year I'll be doing a lot more than I've done in the last 10 years, from an intuitive place, which matches my soul. I'm a feminine woman, and I believe in the power of feminine energy and masculine energy. And that balance there, the masculine being taking yourself forward, and the feminine being following your own intuition and your own flow in how we do that. So for me, those are two examples lately. Well, actually, I shared four. My nails, the hyaluronic acid for my face, good skin, and then, spending on my kayak paddleboard, and then spending on my intuitive marketing for my business and my brand. So those are things that I went, I'm doing, like, this is a need for me to love myself. I need to spend money to do these things that I care about. And the things that I don't care about, I don't waste money on, some things are coming to mind that may sound a little judgmental, but like tattoos and cigarettes and, you know, um, fancy cars. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Someday I'd love a fancy car, but clothes. Like I know how to save where I can save, but I know about spending money to improve the quality of my life. So that's what I want to say is it's time for me to take myself and my brand and my business to the next level. So I invested in something that really felt like a match for me, which was the intuitive marketing course. So, anyway, so underspending, overspending. So I am very conscious of not overspending, and really paying attention to what feeds my soul. So that's my toss for you. And if you would like to comment below, later after this video is not live anymore. I would love to hear, where you're making your shifts between, what you maybe used to spend money on that you no longer are, and where you're spending money in a healthy way uh, for yourself. And I also got a new Lenormand deck that I just spent money on. I really am conscious about what I spend money on, and I bought this new Russia uh, Lenormand deck, and I love Art Nouveau. And so for me as an artist, and this is I do regular tarot in my readings, but this is a Lenormand deck that I can't wait to check out. So I love you guys, and I mean that. And I'm really about self-love and loving others and showing up 100% in the world. So let's do it, gang. Okay, love you guys, and really encourage you to pick up the language of letting go to help you find that balance, especially daily meditation of taking care of yourself while taking care of the people around you. Have a great day.